I think this is working now. I had a little bit of trouble starting the video this morning, but looks like it's good to go right now. We are on live. So welcome to my yoga studio living room today. We are going to be doing a practice focusing on our solar plexus chakra. And so some of the things that we'll do are breath practices, and some we're going to be doing yoga, physical practice, and breath practice. So if anything doesn't serve you, then just feel free to go back to a normal breath or make a modification for your yoga practice. So just take care of yourself and your body. And we're going to get started. So if you have a block, you can bring that, but it's not necessary. I'm just coming back to my mat, and I'm going to sit on a block in the beginning here, or you can just have a seat on your mat. And let's see, I'm going to come into hero's pose. So actually, no, I'm going to come into a comfortable seat. So you can either find your comfortable seat on your block or on your mat. And just begin to feel your sitting bones ground into the earth and lengthen up through the crown of your head. And just take a moment to drop into the space that you're in. You can close your eyes if you would like. And today we're going to be focusing on the solar plexus chakra, which is the third chakra located in between the low ribs. So you can begin to bring your awareness and attention to that space in between your low ribs. Maybe even take your hand to that space. And each chakra corresponds with an element. And the element that corresponds with the solar plexus chakra is fire. So today we're going to be building and harnessing and activating our inner fire. And fire is the symbol in nature, and the element in nature that is associated with transformation. So it literally turns matter into something else. And an analogy that I like is thinking about a forest. So sometimes in a forest, they have forest fires or a controlled burn. And so what that does is the fire burns down all of the old trees, all the old debris, all the old leaves and everything, and clears space for new growth. So that's actually happening in our world collectively right now. A lot of old structures are burning away and creating space for new structures, for new forms of consciousness, for new approaches to life. And so we have the power within us to do the same within our own bodies. So where we might be stagnant, holding on to old beliefs or old structures in our body, old tension, old grief, trauma, we have the power to burn that away using our inner fire. So today we're going to be harnessing that. So we don't want like a huge out of control fire. Like if the fire, the forest fire was out of control, that's not what we want. We want a controlled burn. So we want to be able to direct and harness the fire within us so that we can take actions that we need. So we can remove obstacles in our way. Okay, so begin to drop into your sitting bones. So feel your sit bones connected to your block or to your mat. So we want to ground ourselves. An ungrounded fire is chaotic. So we want our fire to be rooted and solid in the earth. So we feel our sit bones connected down, down, down into the earth. And as we push down into the earth, there will be a natural uprising in our spine. And if you have your hand over your solar plexus chakra, you'll begin to feel that place in your body move as you breathe. So just notice what comes up for you as you tune into that space. So you're actively pushing the sit bones down, lengthening through the spine, and feeling the breath. And we're going to take this into a breath practice called breath of fire. So if it doesn't serve you, again, you can just come back to your natural breath right here. So breath of fire, you're going to pump the belly in towards the spine as you exhale. And you're going to focus on the exhale and not the inhale. So you're going to push the breath out through your nose and allow the in-breath to come in on its own. So it makes an audible sound. It goes like this. So you're pumping the belly in and you're pushing the air out through your nose. And we're going to take maybe 15 breaths for the first round, take a pause, and then do it again. So take a big breath in, just a regular breath in. And we'll begin with the breath of fire. On the exhale, pump the belly. And then take a breath in. Pause at the top. Imagine the breath is all the way up at the crown of your head. And take an exhale. We'll take another round of breath of fire. Breathe in. And pump the breath out. Breathe in. Hold it up at the top. And exhale. This time we're going to do it once more, and we're going to add a visualization. So underneath your hand, in between your low ribs, you're going to imagine a little ember burning. So it's not going to even be a flame, it's just an ember. And this is your inner fire that you're going to stoke. So each breath that you exhale is like blowing on the fire, on this ember, and it makes it get brighter and brighter. So you're going to imagine that your breath of fire is activating this inner fire. So let's take a breath in. Breath of fire. Take a breath in, hold it up at the top. And exhale. And you can take both hands back down to your lap. Turn your palms face up. Feel your sit bones connect down into your block or into the earth and lengthen up through the spine. And bring your awareness to your inner fire. And as an intention for your practice, you can bring into your mind maybe an area of your life where you would like to bring some transformation, where you would like to remove obstacles or barriers that keep you from taking action, that might be keeping you from moving forward. So it could be something mental or something physical. Just bring that intention into your mind's eye. As you breathe out, you can imagine that intention being sent out, being ignited by the fire, burned by the fire. So a lot of traditions, moon traditions, you burn your intentions. You allow them to be transformed. You offer them up. So that's what we are doing in our practice today. So on your next breath, raise your arms up to the sky, reaching up nice and long. So you ground down into the sit bones, reach up through the hands, through the fingertips. Lengthen through both sides of your body. Breathe in. And then on your exhale, take your hands to your heart center. Bow your chin towards your heart. And we're going to sing the sound of Om together to set our intentions collectively and send our energy out into the space around us within our homes and beyond. So let's take a breath in. Take your hands back down, and we're going to move into a tabletop position. So you can tap out your feet. You've been sitting for a while, so you can just tap out your feet. Take your knees about hip width apart, and take your hands underneath your shoulders. You're going to ground down to whatever is touching the earth in our practice, whatever's touching your yoga mat is what you're going to ground into. So remember, we're grounding that fire. So you'll push down into the hands, into the shins. And we're going to take a cat-cow breath. So on your inhale, you're going to tilt the tailbone up and lift the heart. And so you can imagine the fire within your belly expanding as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, you're going to push your hands into the earth around the spine. And imagine the fire expanding through the back of the body. That warmth. Inhale, cat-cow tilt. Exhale, cat pose. So you can either keep your eyes open or closed here, visualizing that inner fire beginning to warm up through the torso. One more breath like that. On your next exhale, you're going to circle the hips around to the right and down towards the heels. And then bring the hips all the way back up to your tabletop. And then you can continue to circle around, bending your elbows. If that feels good, maybe dipping your shoulders. So you're going to bring some fluidity to this movement. You're going to use the inhale to lift yourself up and your exhale to set your hips back down towards your heels. So tune into your own breath. So while we're focusing on the solar plexus chakra, we're actually getting into all the different chakras because this one helps to activate those different areas in the body, melting away tension where we might be blocked. And so it allows for more free flow in the movement. So here we're getting into the hips, the sacral chakra, the shoulders, the heart chakra. You might even get your head and neck into it for your throat chakra. So just take 2 more circles around here. And make your way back to tabletop. And then from here, we're going to curl the toes under and then feel your hands connected down to the earth. You're going to lift your knees about 1 inch off the mat. So here we're beginning to activate the core. You're going to draw the belly in towards the spine. You're activating the core. The hands are pushing into the earth and you're breathing. You're building the inner fire. And then you're going to keep your knees bent, send your hips back to a downward facing dog. Keep the knees bent for a moment. And then begin to straighten the legs. You can pedal one heel down, then the other, shifting your hips side to side. And just notice how this pose feels. So you have a line from the tailbone, the root chakra, all the way to the crown chakra. And your inner fire is allowing there to be some more space. If there's any stagnation in there, you're going to allow the inner fire to move through that space. Take a big breath in and out. We'll take a lion's breath here, in through the nose. Exhale, tongue to chin, clear it out. And then shift back onto your knees, coming to all fours. We're going to come back to a child's pose. So your hands are extended here. Your knees are underneath your ribs, or your thighs are underneath your ribs. Third eye connected down to the earth. And just allow yourself to rest here for a moment. Breathe. Give your wrists a rest. You can maybe wiggle your wrists around. And place your hands back on the mat, connecting your fingers to the earth. Take a full breath in. And a surrendering breath out. Letting your body be surrendered down into the earth. One more like that. Breathe in. Breathe out. And as you inhale, lift back into all fours. And we're going to take our hip circles around to the other side. So connect your hands and your shins to the earth. Breathe in. And on your exhale, you're going to circle the hips around to the left. Down towards the heels, and then back up to all fours. And again, you can dip the shoulders here, extending the elbows or bending the elbows. Create some fluidity in the body. And stay connected with your breath. Let's take 2 more circles here. Come back to all fours. Curl your toes under. And this time you're just going to shift your hips back to a downward facing dog. You can bend the knees, straighten the legs as much as you can here. For as much as feels good. Nice stretch in the back of the body. Hands are pushing down into the earth. Take a full breath in. Lion's breath, clear it out. Look to your hands, and you're going to step one foot and then the other to a forward fold. Clasp opposite elbows for a ragdoll. So your feet are connected down into the earth, nice and grounded. And you're going to allow the upper body to be a little bit more fluid. So you're just going to let your upper body soften. So the jaw, the forehead. Swaying side to side like a tree. And come back to center. Take your hands to your shins, and on your inhale, you're going to lengthen halfway, and you're going to push your heart down towards the mat. Spine is nice and long from the root to the crown. Breathe in. Exhale, forward fold. And you can soften the knees here. Inhale, half lift again, hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, soften. One more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. Inhale, arms sweep up. Take your hands to your heart center. Connect your thumbs to your sternum and close your eyes here. And feel your feet connected down into the earth. You can lift and spread your toes. Draw your tailbone in, belly lifts up. So you're nice and grounded, connected to the earth. Feeling the inner fire in the belly as you breathe, stoking the flames with your breath. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to the mat, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. And you're gonna step back into a high plank position. Your hands are gonna push down into the mat, so you're nice and strong here. Your belly's gonna draw in towards the spine, and the tailbone points down towards the heels. Now, if this is too much, you can come onto your knees, still drawing the belly in and up. So we're activating the core here. Breathe. One more breath in. And then lower it all the way down onto your mat, onto your belly. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Inhale, lift up, cobra. Tops of the toes push into the earth. Elbows draw in towards the sides. Breathe in. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. Maybe a little bit higher this time. Exhale, lower down. Again, inhale, lift, cobra. This time take your hands off the mat so you're using the strength of your back. Tops of the toes are pushing down. Breathe in and breathe out to lower down. Then you're going to lift yourself back up to all fours or to high plank and push it back to a downward facing dog. Full breath in and out. Look to your hands and you're going to step to the top of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. So we're going through our sun salutations. Inhale, half lift. The sun being the element of fire. Step back, high plank. You can lower down to your knees. Low plank, elbows draw back. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. I'm going to stick with cobra for this one. Then you're going to lift yourself up to all fours or high plank. Push back, downward facing dog. Breathe in and out. Look forward. Step to the top of your mat. Lengthen. Fold. Rise. Fold. Half lift. Step it back. Inhale. Low plank. Cobra or up dog. Doing up dog this time. Tops of the feet down. Hands pushing into the earth. Heart opens. Breathe in. Exhale. Push it back. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Look forward and step to the top of your mat. So we're saluting to the sun energy within us. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Forward fold. Inhale, half. Step back. High plank. Low plank. Up dog. Down dog. So we're building heat within the body. Breathe in. Let it go. Look forward and step to a fold. Half lift. Fold. Rise. Fold. Lengthen. High plank. Low plank. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Full breath in. Let it go. We're going to lift the right leg up. 3-leg dog here. Bend the knee, open the hip. Right hand pushes down into the mat. You're going to shift back to your three-legged dog. Draw the knee in towards your nose and step your right foot in between your hands. Left knee lowers down to the mat. We're going to come to a low lunge here. So you want your right knee over the right ankle. Inner thighs draw together. And you want to really ground into the feet, the right foot in the back of the shin, to connect your body to the earth and to give you that stability. And then from there, lift up through the ribs, expanding through the front belly, all the way up through the hands, the fingertips, gaze up. Breathe in. On your breath out, you're going to take your hands back to the mat and send your send both of your hips back for a half Hanuman. So your right leg begins to straighten and you can walk your hands back midway in between your left knee and your right heel. And draw the right hip back. Inhale, take your heart towards the right toes, and on your exhale, you're going to fold a little bit. So you're expanding through the back of the right leg. So we're opening the channels for our grounding. Our legs are the channels for our body to ground into the earth. So we want to keep them free of tension. Breathe in, breathe out. Then begin to walk back into your low lunge. Left hand down to the earth, right arm reaches up towards the sky for a twist. Your right foot's going to push down into the earth, so you want to feel an opening in the outer right hip. Your left hand is pushing down into the earth so that your shoulders can stack, draw together, and the energy is moving from one hand all the way up to the other. Right fingertips expand and open. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale, right hand back to the outside of the right foot. Curl your left toes under. Lift the left knee, and maybe you can step forward into a fold, or maybe you can inch it forward a little bit at a time, or any way that you can get back into your fold. Do whatever is best for your body. So you're going to return back to the forward fold. And just notice if there's any difference between one leg and the other. Let your head and neck relax. You can shake it yes and no. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Step back to your high plank. Breathe in here. You can lower down to your knees into low plank. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Clear it out. You're going to take your left leg up to the sky. Bend your knee, open your hip. Back to three-legged dog. Breathe in. Step it in between your hands. Lower the right knee to the mat. You take the toes down. Lift your arms up to a low lunge here. So you're pushing into the left foot, right shin, top of the right foot. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Lengthen up through the ribs, all the way up through the fingertips. Gaze up. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Shift your hips back for half Hanuman. Left leg straightens. You can draw the left hip back in line with the right. So when we go through times of uncertainty, our body tends to tense up and prepare. It's trying to prepare and protect itself. And if we don't discharge this energy, then it becomes locked in the body as different habitual patterns of tension. So we're just holding on, gripping. We can use our practice to discharge this energy. Shift back into your low lunge. Right hand plants down, left arm reaches up for your twist. Left foot plugs into the mat, right hand, and open up through the chest all the way up to the left fingertips. Breathe. So we can choose to discharge this energy, to burn it away, this tension, so that we become more clear as channels for our energy. Channels for our own personal truth to come through. A full breath in. Left hand back to the mat. You can curl your right toes under, lift the right knee. And then maybe take a step or two to meet in forward fold at the top of your mat. And just let your head and neck relax again. And notice both legs this time. Notice how they feel. Maybe you can, if your knees are bent, maybe you can straighten them a little bit more. If they're already straight, maybe you can take your chest a little bit closer to your thighs. Notice if there's anything that you're holding on to unnecessarily here. So like we don't really need the forehead to be tense, right, in this pose, or the jaw. So see if you can relax those things. Then soften your knees. You're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time, just like a rag doll, all the way to your standing mountain pose. You roll your shoulders back and away from your ears. Take some big circles with your shoulders. Let's actually, you can use the whole arm to circle back. So let's do the right, circling back, circling forward. So a lot of us, myself included, hold the tension in the shoulders, other side. So we try to like protect ourselves, draw our bodies inward, protect our hearts. If our feelings get intense, we might try to protect. And then back to your forward, like kind of like you're swimming. So here we allow that to release. And then just take some twists from side to side, tapping either side with the hands as you shift. So we don't have to be really strong and rigid in our practice. It's actually great to bring some fluidity, some softness in. And then just step to the top of your mat. Now we are going to find our mountain pose. Feet are plugging down. Tailbone tilts down, belly lifts up. So you have that opposite direction happening. That's going to give you your strength and your stability here in the pose. Your inner thighs are going to spiral back as you draw the tailbone down and belly lift. Shoulders roll away from the ears. You're going to push your feet down into the earth so there's a natural uprising in the spine all the way through the crown of the head. Your hands are extensions of your shoulders and your arms. Feel your fingertips. You can close your eyes here. Take your awareness into the whole body. And feel the whole body. You might feel the movement of the breath You might even feel your own heartbeat. Next inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. You're going to step back to your high plank. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe. Step your right foot in between your hands and you're going to swivel around to the long edge of your mat for a forward fold. Hands connect down to the earth. You're going to bend the elbows, point them back so that your head is relaxed. Your jaw is relaxed. You can begin to take a bend in your right knee, shifting over to a side lunge, maybe just a little one here at first and then the other side. So as you breathe, move side to side. Take one more to each side. Come back to center, inhale, halfway lift. And then you're going to come all the way up to standing. And from here, turn your right toes out for a warrior two. Arms extend. And so at first, let's take some nice strong arms. Your feet are connected down to the earth. You feel nice and stable, belly is lifted. You can visualize that inner fire burning down into the hips, clearing away any tension there, burning up towards the shoulders as they open, clearing away any tension there. Maybe sending that energy all the way out through the fingertips. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Then you're going to flip your right palm, reverse your warrior. Left hand rests down on your the outer left thigh. You're going to open up through the right ribs. Send your breath there. Breathe. Inhale. On your exhale, come to a side angle, right forearm on your right thigh, left arm reaches up. Heart is still open, breathe. Then as you inhale, you're going to come back up to your warrior two, straighten the right leg. And if you're like me, then your right leg might be burning a little bit. It's good, we're building that fire, that intensity. And you're going to turn your right toes in, left toes out. Warrior two on the left. So you're grounding the feet down again, belly lifts, tailbone lowers, points down towards the earth. And this time, instead of having the arms nice and straight, see if you can take a nice soft bend to the arms. So now, we're still going to imagine that fire. But instead of imagining it shooting through, we're just going to imagine it burning within us, clearing away our own tension around our heart, the places where we might close when we're with other people. And see if we can add some gentleness by keeping the elbows bent. That might feel weird or different. You're going to reverse yourself. Left arm reaches up and over. This time you can straighten the left arm. Breathe into the left ribs. So sometimes our fire burns brighter when we are more gentle, when our heart is more open, than when we are strong and pushing. So it just depends on what you need in the moment. And shift forward to your side angle. Keep the chest nice and open. Come back to your warrior two. Straighten the left leg and turn your toes in. Okay, you can lower your arms for a moment. We're going to come into a breath kriya. It's called warrior. It's warrior breath. So your heels will come slightly in, toes point out. And you're going to take your hands in front, or your elbows extending from your shoulders. Hands are stacked on top of the elbows. And you're going to sit down kind of like, we could call this a warrior goddess. So you're in your goddess pose with your legs, and your feet are grounding down. You're going to find a gazing point in front of you. And on your breath in, you're going to take a 2-part breath in through your nose. And on your exhale, you're going to breathe out through your mouth, sounding like this. Inhale. Exhale. So find your focus. Exhale. So you're stoking that fire inside. Let's take a 2-part inhale, 2-part exhale. Again. One more. Straighten the legs, arms come down by the sides, palms facing out. Keep your eyes open, find your gazing point, and breathe. So your feet are firmly grounded. Your inner fire is burning. Shoulders are open. Heart is open. So maybe this could be what it's like to stand in our own truth, with our feet connected down, standing nice and tall, heart open. What would that feel like? Take a breath. Embody it. And heel toe your feet back together to your mountain pose. And you're going to find that feeling again. This time you can close your eyes. Your feet are connected down, down, down. The crown is lifting up. Heart is open. You're standing strong and open. Grounded in your own truth, your own decisions, your own actions, whatever it is that you feel called to move towards. Or maybe you feel called to just stand, to stay standing tall, standing firm in your own beliefs. Inhale, arms reach up. And exhale, take your hands behind your back, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift your heart. And exhale, forward fold. So your knees can bend here. Your shoulders draw away from the ears. Head is heavy, neck is long. Breathe in. Release your hands to the mat. And you're going to step back into a high plank. But this time you're just going to lower your knees to the mat. And actually take your knees a little bit wider than hip width. Take the tops of your feet to the earth. You're going to walk your hands back. You take your hands to the outside of the feet here. We're going to come to a modified camel. So you'll push your hips forward, heart lifts. You take your gaze up. Shoulder blades draw together. Feel the opening in the torso and the solar plexus, the heart and the throat. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. And then lower your hips down to your heels. Draw the knees in together and come to a child's pose. And allow your body to surrender to the earth. And lift your hips back up, come to all fours. We're going to come into a pigeon pose on the right. So you can take your right knee behind the right wrist, left ankle behind the left wrist. It doesn't have to be parallel. You can have the heel coming in toward your pelvis. You're going to square your hips here, imagining drawing the inner thighs together. Lengthen up through the torso. Breathe in. And on your exhale, you're going to fold forward. Maybe if you have a block, you can rest your head on your block or on your hands or your fists or the mat. So whichever one that is available, see if you can connect your third eye into the ground, your third eye. And notice if there might be tension around the third eye area. See if you can just relax it a little bit. And see if you can maybe relax into the hip, right hip as well. Relax the shoulders. So here we can imagine our inner fire burning away any area that might hold a lot of tension for you. For me, that's a lot of it is in my right hip. So imagine that fire burning, or even melting that tension. So the heat from the fire just melting with each breath a little bit more. So we don't want to grip and hold on and stay stuck in our own patterns. We want to allow ourselves some space. We want to allow for a release. We want to allow for new energy to have the space to move through. You can imagine that happening. Visualize it. And then walk yourself back up. Pressing the palms into the mat, coming into a proud pigeon, opening up through the heart. And curl your back toes under. Step it back to a downward facing dog. And pedal your heels, clear out the right hip. Step forward with your left leg, forward pigeon on the left. So you're going to set up your pose first. We always want to create the solid structure within us, so grounding. So we work from the ground up. We find our safe pose for our knees, for our hips. So whatever that is for you. And then once you find that grounding, that connection, you can lengthen up through the spine and walk yourself forward. And let your head rest on your hands or a block or the mat. And again, imagine whatever it is you need, maybe in the left hip or maybe in the low back or somewhere else. Imagine that heat that we've built through our practice dissolving those areas that we've been holding on. Slowly begin to lift yourself up, planting the hands into the earth, opening up through the chest for a proud pigeon. Take a breath here. Then you're going to shift, make your way back to a downward facing dog, pedal the heels again. Shift your hips side to side, shake your head. And from here, you're going to plant your hands, pushing them down, 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 down into the earth. And as you do that, there'll be a natural uprising that comes through the palms of your hands, through your wrists, forearms, elbows, shoulders, through your ribs, hips, and all the way down to your heels. So the energy from the earth, when we push into it and connect with it, it actually fills our body. It's like plugging in a computer. We fill ourselves with that energy that we need. Breathe in and breathe out. Then lower your knees to the mat. And we are going to come to a seated cobbler's pose. So you can take the soles of the feet together, knees wide. On your inhale, you can lengthen up. Now I like to sometimes put a block, if you have one, in between my feet. And I like to create a diamond shape, so it might be a little bit longer than your traditional cobbler's pose. Begin to fold forward, lengthening as you breathe in, and softening as you breathe out. If you have that block, maybe you can rest your forehead on it. So you're allowing the back body to melt away any tension. Soften and surrender into the pose. Slowly make your way back up. And let's take the feet in line with your hips for a reverse tabletop. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Push your hips up, Open up through the solar plexus, through the heart. Breathe in. And on your breath out, lower down. And come all the way onto your back. And draw your left knee in towards your body. Right leg extends on your mat. Breathe in here. On your exhale, you're going to take a twist. Left leg crosses over the right. Gaze out over your left hand. So you can imagine this like wringing out anything, any residual tension or anything that you need to let go of in this moment. Using the breath to cause it to transform. So where we hold ourselves back, maybe that can transform us into having the courage to stay or to move forward. To stay grounded and rooted in our own truth. Or maybe there's an action that we could take. Come back to center and switch sides. Right leg draws in. So we can purify ourselves through this practice using the physical body. And cross the right leg over. Using the physical body to help us tune into the energy body, the mental body. They're all connected. Full breath in. Soft exhale. And make your way onto your backs. Your back. You just have one. Then we're going to come to Shavasana here. So let your feet come to the corners of your mat and just let your legs, your feet flop open, legs flop open. Push the back of your head into the mat, draw the shoulders together. Let the arms just open up. The back of the hands connect to the earth. Arms surrender down into the earth. Shoulders soften. Jaw softens. Forehead softens. Mind softens. And just bring your awareness to the natural inflow and outflow of your breath. We're tuning in. We're attuning with our own bodies, with our own nervous system. Allowing it to absorb, integrate, assimilate everything that we needed from our practice this morning. If your mind wanders off, connect it right back to the breath. Begin to deepen your breath. Inhale, expand the front body, filling it with the breath. On your exhale, allow the back body to dissolve into the mat. Inhale, expand. Exhale, dissolve. Create some movement in your fingers and your toes. Let your head rock side to side. I'm going to draw the knees in toward your chest. Give yourself a little massage on your low back, making some circles. And come onto your right side into a fetal position, cradling your head with your shoulder, your arm. And from here, connect with your intention, the place where you want to bring that energy of transformation, activation. Take one more breath there. And make your way to a seat of meditation on your mat. Sitting up nice and tall, grounding the sit bones into the earth, lengthening up through the crown of the head. And in honor of our solar plexus chakras, that part of us that wants to take action, to move forward, to transform, we're going to sing the seed sound for it and do the hand mudra. So you're going to interlace your fingers and you're going to have one thumb sticking up. The other thumb wraps around it and draw it to your solar plexus chakra. So you're grounded down into the sit bones, lengthening up through the crown of your head. And the seed sound for this chakra is Ram, R-A-M. We're going to sing it 3 times together. And you can imagine that as you are singing this mantra, you're igniting your own intention that you set for your practice. So take a breath in. Take your hands to your heart center, bowing your chin, bowing your third eye, your intuition, your inner vision to your heart. And in gratitude, I thank you for showing up and sharing this practice with me, and the light within me, the fire and the light within me honors the fire and the light within you. Namaste. Thanks, y'all. Namaste. Om.